Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Faith Kids Training. My name is Becky Chaplin. I'm the Director of Children's Ministry here at Faith, and I am so excited for this year with all of you. Thank you for choosing to be part of the Faith Kids team. Thank you for choosing to be a champion of children's ministry. I am so excited to team up with you as we invite kids and their families to know Jesus. So let's get started. So, to get our hearts in the right place, I just want to share with you a few verses, especially one that's been on my heart lately from Hebrews 12. And it talks about how we are a great cloud of witnesses and that we can keep our eyes on Jesus. And when I think about Faith Kids, that is what I think of. We are a cloud of witnesses. We are a team that is pointing these kids to Jesus because our eyes are on him and we want to direct their eyes to be on him. We want them to grow in their faith in him. And we're just a cloud of witnesses simply witnessing about what Jesus has done in our lives. And so we truly are a Faith Kids family because we're God's family. And that's something that I want us to impart to the kids, that then when they're at Faith Kids, they belong here because they belong in God's family. And so we love like God's family, we have fun like God's family, and we learn and forgive and encourage each other like God's family. And so as we go into this ministry year, let's keep our eyes focused on Jesus, and we can start that by focusing on his word. And so I want to share another verse from Psalm 78 that has really been the kind of guide throughout my life and throughout kids ministry because it's such a strong verse. So listen to these words from Psalm 78, verse 4. It says, "We will not hide these truths from our children. We will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, so the next generation might know them, even the children not yet born, and they in turn will teach their own children. So each generation should set its hope anew on God." I love that verse because it reminds me of the ripple effect of you choosing to be part of Faith Kids now has a ripple effect on generations to come. Because the kids that we're teaching right now, when they have kids and they have kids, the faith in Jesus is just going to keep growing and growing until the whole world knows, until the whole world is invited to know Jesus. And that's our heart at Faith Kids and at Faith Community. And so we want to make sure that whatever we're doing, whether it's prepping a coloring page or a craft or getting down on the level of a kid to be able to look them in the eyes and ask them about their day, or to give them a high five and make eye contact with them, like all of those ways are teaching them how Jesus loves them, how Jesus sees them, and is putting that faith in their heart right now to build that foundation and for the next generation, even a generation not yet born. So think about that ripple effect impact that you're having just by being part of this team. Thank you so much for believing in this next generation and knowing that they are important to our church right now because we're the Faith Kids family. And so we want to teach these stories to our kids. And so I want to walk you through the format of what Faith Kids looks like. Now that we know where our love is coming from, where our faith is coming from, who our faith is in, now we're ready to be able to love on these kids with the same love that Jesus has for us, because that's what really you are doing at Faith Kids. You are called to just love on these kids with the same love that Jesus does. And so all you're going to do is show up and love on the kids. Simple as that. You're going to know the truth, tell the stories so these kids can trust in God by loving on them as Jesus would. So you listen to them, you learn their favorite things, you get down on their level and you sit with them, you sing with them, you do all the fun activities with them, you hear them and you see them just as Jesus does. And so your role as a small group leader, you can find the job description in the resources tab, and I'll explain about that too. But really, your job isn't prepping anything. You don't have to teach the lesson up front. You don't have to prepare the craft in advance. You get to come on Sunday morning ready to love on these kids. And that just means being their friend, being a guide, being ready to ask them questions, to learn their favorite things. So it really is more of a guiding role than having to stand up and teach anything. You just get to be their friend. Simple as that. But a friend that points them to Jesus and to faith in him. And so you can find the full job description in the resources tab of the Faith Kids Leader Group online, which is how you're probably accessing this training. And I just want to walk you through a couple other resources that are in there for you so that you can be prepared for your first day serving at Faith Kids. So what would your first day at Faith Kids look like? That's a great question. I'm so glad you asked, and I want to walk you through it. So when you arrive, you could come upstairs to the Children's Ministry Center Center. It's just up the stairs on the north side of the campus. And Faith Kids is happening either during the 9 a.m. or the 10:30 a.m. service. And you can choose which service you'd like to help serve in. And if you'd like to help us prep some of the supplies beforehand, you can just show up like 15 minutes, 30 minutes before, and we'll set out all the supplies and materials. But if not, just make sure that you're in the lobby ready to go 10 minutes before the kids get dismissed to us. So during the 9 a.m. service, kids will get dismissed right around 9:30, and during the 10:30 service, kids will get dismissed right around 11 a.m. And so we are ready for them and ready to go upstairs when they arrive, and then they're with us until the end of the service. So really, they're starting worship with their families through the first half. They're singing songs, they're receiving communion with their families, and then they come out to us for age appropriate learning and a whole lot of fun. And so when you arrive upstairs, our preschoolers are going to go down the hall to the left right away, and they're going to get started on their craft or fun activity for the day, some songs in their classroom. And then the kindergarteners through the third graders will stay in the main space. It'll be marked K1, 2, 3, and they'll get started on their Bible story, their song, their Bible buddy movie clip for the day before they get dismissed for their craft and their classrooms. And then once they're dismissed to their classrooms, we bring out the preschoolers and then we do the Bible story with them. Now, fourth and fifth graders are going to have their own program this year, and that will be our Level 45 leadership program. That too will happen at the same time as Faith Kids. So when all the kids are dismissed halfway through the service, the fourth and fifth graders will also come up and they'll head to their Level 45 room where they'll receive their own leadership training and devotion on what it means to lead like Jesus. So all of that is going to be happening at the same time. It's a ton of fun and it's age appropriate for each of those ages. So preschoolers are receiving what they need, K through 3 are going to get what they need, and then fourth and fifth will receive what they need. So whenever you are in the large group time, when you're listening to the Bible story, your job in that moment is to just participate, have fun, sing the songs, help the kids guide their attention upward so that they're paying attention and listening to the story or the leader at the front. And then in the classrooms is really your relational building time. So you're really getting to know the kids by name, you're learning their favorite things. And one of the ways that we do that is through an opening question that will be on the TV screen in your classroom every week. So sometimes that opening question is something simple like who's in your family or what's your favorite color or candy or whatever, just to get to know the kids. Sometimes it will have something a little bit deeper that applies to our lesson, like who is someone in your life that needs to know Jesus's love, or what's one way you can shine Jesus's light this week. Those questions are designed for you to start to get to know the kids and kind of another way for us to track attendance. So you'll have a binder in your classroom and you can go around and make that connection point with each child by writing their name in the binder and then writing their response to the question. Now, if it's a long response, you don't have to write the whole thing. It can just, you're just jotting down really their name and just something simple about them that you want to remember that they responded to in that question. We also have something called a mystery person in each of the classrooms, and this is something that the kids love and will remind you of if you've forgotten. So, on the first day, they will have filled out a mystery person sheet that's all about me, their favorite color, their favorite food, their favorite show, all that stuff. And then you'll keep that in your binder. And then each week you'll choose a mystery person, one of the kids that's present that day. And if the kids guess who the mystery person is, so you'll read their favorite things, like their favorite color is purple, their favorite food is guacamole. And they would be like, that's Miss Becky, because that is me. But then the person that guessed the mystery person gets a prize, and the mystery person gets a prize, and there's prizes in your classroom. So it's a fun way not only for the kids to share about their favorite things, but for the other kids to get to know the friends in their classroom, because we want to learn about each other. We're God's family and we're a family at Faith Kids. And so it's a really fun way just to really establish that connection in the classroom, because when kids first come in, especially if they're in K through 3, it's wild, it's crazy. We're singing songs, we're jumping right in. But when you go to your classrooms, that's like the small group time. And that's the time where you get to intentionally build relationships with those kids. Same thing is happening in preschool, but since they're a little bit littler, they need a littler space where they feel nice and safe and tucked in. And you start with that relational time. So you're getting to know those kids, asking their name, helping them through the craft, talking as you're doing the activity for that day. And because of that, I also want to get to know you guys guys too. So in the link to the registration form that was included with this training, I would love to learn more of your favorite things. So that's why that section is in the form, your favorite candy, your favorite restaurant, favorite movie, all those kinds of fun things about you, as well as a couple other things for the training. So make sure you fill out that as part of your form as well. So then, after a fun day of Faith Kids, it will be time for pickup. The parents will come up the stairs. They will stay in that main space while I lead a quick family huddle that just simply explains to them what we learned that day, why we're making the craft that we're making, some talking points for them to talk about with their kids once they pick them up. And then the parents will come to your classroom, and that's where you're just checking that ID tag to match the numeric code on the kid's name tag with the parent's ID tag. And so if you have any questions about that, you can always come verify with me. We also have security posted at the door to make sure that no child is leaving without an adult. So we just need your help to make sure that they're getting picked up by the right parent that has the ID tag. So if you ever have any questions about check-in or check-out, let me know, and I'm happy to help guide you through it. Now, there is another important item about keeping kids safe, and that is our child protection policy. And you can find this document online in the resources tab of our Faith Kids Leader Group. And this is an important piece that you are going to need to review and read and sign. And the way that you're going to do that is by accessing that registration form that was included in the link with this video. You're going to fill that out as a Faith Kids volunteer. You're going to sign that you agree to the child protection policy. If you're over 18, you're also checking that you agree that we can obtain a background check for you. And student volunteers, you're also going to check that you have agreed to the student volunteer covenant. I'm going to get to all this fun paperwork starting now. So bear with me. This is the last little bit of training here because all of these are important documents that are going to set us up all for success here at Faith Kids. So let's get started with the child protection policy. So you're going to have read that, reviewed that, but I just want to highlight a few points from it. One of them that is really important is our 2 adults rule. And so that is our rule that we have 2 adults in a room at any given time with kids. Now, Faith Kids, this is pretty easy because we are all usually together in a large group. We always have multiple volunteers in the classroom. We have glass doors on our classroom doors. So it's really easy to never be alone with a kid. But I just need to say that, never be alone with a kid because we have our 2 adults rule, and we are doing that to keep the child safe and to keep you safe as the volunteer. So make sure that you're reading through that child protection policy. The policy is also going to touch on signs of any abuse that could be happening for a child. And so those are things that you need to be looking out for. If you suspect anything like that, I need you to report that to me because I am a mandated reporter and we need to report that immediately. So please, our job is to keep these kids safe because we love them and we want to share Jesus with them, and we have to keep them safe in order to do that. So please make sure that you read, review, and sign that child protection policy. Then there's also a document for student volunteers, and this is something new that we're implementing this year. So if you're a student volunteer for Faith Kids, that means you're in middle school or high school. This is a covenant that we need you to sign to show us that you are ready to commit to serving at Faith Kids. This is a huge responsibility, one that we don't take lightly. As you can see, it is very serious and very important and very awesome to get to work with kids. And so this is a student volunteer covenant that just outlines simple things like being on time, being focused on the kids, not on our phones. I feel like we all can always use that good reminder, and actively fully participating with the kids in the songs and the games and the crafts. Because when we're at Faith Kids, our eyes are on Jesus, and Jesus says, "Let the little children come to me." And so we want to be a church that says, "Let the little children come to us. Let them come running down the aisle to Faith Kids because we are so excited to share Jesus with them." And so all of this paperwork is how we do that. And so I just want to close up with another piece of paperwork that's just a tool and a guide to help you. And that is our discipline one-liner sheet. Now, no one wants to talk about discipline because it's like awkward, and we're church, right? It's a little bit different when you're in a school setting, and it's like kids' church, right? And we want it to be fun and exciting, but we also want kids to be listening and paying attention and not hurting others or themselves. So we also need to make sure that we've got some tools and guide for what best to do when it comes to discipline. Really, the word disciple is like tied in and rooted from discipline. And so we're teaching these kids how to be disciples of Jesus. And that means they're actively listening and engaged, just like the disciples were with Jesus. And when they weren't, Jesus had to like discipline them a little, like, "Hey guys, focus up on me. And so that's what we want to do with these discipline one-liners. So you can also find that in the resources section of the group. And there's just a couple that I want to point out. I want you to memorize any one of these. Like read through the list. They're just like short little bullet points. Pick one that's your favorite and memorize it because you will need it and you will want it. It's pretty easy at Faith Kids, and we really don't run into a lot of discipline issues because we're all together as a group. But it's good to have it in your back pocket to help the kids listen when we're in the large group or to help them focus when you're doing the craft inside the small group. So let me just give you a few examples. One is I'll listen as soon as your voice is as calm as mine. That kind of helps calm a kid down. I can listen to you when your voice is as calm as mine. If you have a preschooler that's really upset or a young kid or any age kid that is crying or you can't understand them, that's an easy way to say, I can listen to you when your voice is as calm as mine. I can't understand you when you're crying that way, and I want to hear what you're saying. Something like that to help them breathe and take a deep breath and be able to share calmly. Another one is let's keep listening so we can do as many fun activities as possible. Or let's keep listening so that we can get to our Bible buddy movie. Or let's keep listening so we can play the game that Miss Becky said. Something like that to redirect their attention up because sometimes they, get a little squirrely. And so we want to direct their attention back up to wherever, whatever's happening in that moment. Two other really easy things that you can do with either little kids or older kids. For little kids, if they're not making the best choice, you can say, uh-oh, like sing-songy like that, like, uh-oh, that wasn't a choice. Or for older kids, you can like, uh-oh, like that's it's not a sing-songy, it's more like a, uh-oh, that wasn't a choice. And so we want to give kids the two choices that they can choose from. Like you can choose to finish the craft with the group, or you can choose to sit quietly by me until your parent picks you up. Something like that. We want to help them redirect their attention back on whatever they're supposed to be doing. And if you are running into an issue consistently or had a rough day with whatever, please come and talk to me. I am here to support you. And so just come on up, and you can even tell the kid like a delayed consequence, like, I'm not sure what to do about this, so we're going to have to talk to Miss Becky after. I am in your corner. You are an amazing volunteer and teacher that has chosen to be part of Faith Kids. I'm here to support you. And so please come and see me after with whatever it is. I want to be your champion as you champion children's ministry. And that is what we're doing here at Faith Kids. And I'm so excited that you have chosen to be part of the ride. It's a great journey with Jesus. And I'm so excited to go on that with all of you this year. So as you finish this video, make sure that you go fill out the registration form for a volunteer for Faith Kids. It will walk you through all those things, your favorite things, discipline one-liners, the child protection policy, the checked box for background checks, student volunteer covenant, all that. You don't need me to repeat it, but you can check that all out on the form. Please make sure that you submit that before your first day of serving at Faith Kids. And I am so excited to see you then. Let's invite these kids and their families to know Jesus.